Welcome out. This is our midweek wrap up, and we're going to take a look at what has happened in the first 3 days of trading this week, as well as take a peek at the next couple of days. It's what we call our market recap. This is Coach T from TackleTrading.com. Get in the game. Go over to TackleTrading.com and register today if you have not done so already. Let's start with the news and talk about the overall equity markets today. You know, the Trade Center at Tackle Trading is a great way for you to stay involved, stay informed. We've put a lot of our great tools in there, connections that we have, that kind of thing. Strong today, healthcare, industrial, materials, technology. Weak were discretionary, energy, telecom, services, kind of the cyclical sectors were down. The dollar index set a session low after the ADP employment report, but it returned into the green after there was a manufacturing ISM report that came out. So you had volatility in the currency markets, and Disney struggled among disappointing results, that kind of thing. The Dow was down 10, NASDAQ up 34, and the S&P up 6. So you did have quite a mixed market today. Let's take a look at the futures market and talk about that for a few minutes. 5-minute chart on the S&P 500. We opened the day up, sold off, flat into a range, even into the overnight session. Let's go back to the daily chart on that. Stuck in the middle of the range, you know, support 2025, resistance 2125. You've kind of got a narrow band. In fact, you have one of the lowest trading ranges in terms of volatility in about 80 years in the market for 6 months. From March until August, really February until August. You're just not getting a lot of action up or down, and that's because people just can't decide on where they want to take the stock market next. Let's look at volatility. Again, range-bound options are cheap right now. If you're a credit trader, theta trader, cash flow trader, payday trader, whatever you want to call it, you know, the credit markets are not giving you great paydays. And so you got to really work for those if you want to stay with that. Energy markets, let's talk about crude oil. Down, down, down. You know, we've been bearish on this. In fact, tomorrow we're going to put out another commodity report. I want you to pay close attention to what I talk about with crude oil. Crude oil has broken down. It's sold off. We've been bearish on it. It's been bearish all week. It continues to sell. We're sitting at $45 on some pressure. Natural gas, we've been more neutral on, and it's sitting in the range. There's no doubt about it. Metals market. Gold down, pressure, sitting on support, about to break down again. Silver, same thing. I'm a little bit more, you know, neutral on silver. Kind of like it a little bit better from a value standpoint. Currencies, U.S. dollar has had a pretty good month. Okay? Since it bottomed, in late June, it rallied, pullback, bull retracement, pivot, trigger, running. Euro, selling off. Yen, selling off. Canadian dollar, very bearish. New Zealand dollar, Aussie, all the commodity-backed currencies, very bearish. Let's look at the economic calendar for the week. Look at all of them. Apply the filter. Now, and it's just for the 6th. Let's look at all of the entire week. So up until this point, you know, we had the ADP numbers in the U.S. that came out on Wednesday morning. You had crude oil inventories, which affected the crude oil markets. If you trade that, you definitely had to pay attention there. We had an RBA rate statement earlier in the week on Monday. Volatility in the Australian dollar here tonight. And tomorrow, the Aussie unemployment rate came out. Tomorrow for Thursday, if you're a currency trader, and Friday, things to pay attention to. Official bank rate votes from the GBP, the official bank rate from the GBP, if you trade the pound. There's an expectation that at some point this year, soon, maybe next year, whenever, could even happen before we know it, you're going to see interest rates changing on that currency. The expectation right now, you'll find this column, it says forecast. The expectation for the pound is 0.5%, okay? And, you know, you're going to want to watch that if you're a currency trader in the morning, 4 a.m., and that is my time, you know, that's Pacific Standard Time, actually. You want to convert that to GMT if you're a currency trader or your local time. And then over the week on Friday, the US dollar and the Canadian dollar both have events on the same day at the same time. Unemployment, okay, the unemployment rate for the Canadian dollar and the Canadian economy, as well as the US dollar, and that's going to affect volatility. All in all, we're seeing some action in commodities, quite a bit of action in commodities. We're seeing some volatility in the currency markets. We're not seeing a lot of action in the equity markets. And if you're an equity trader, you're probably waiting for a movement. You're waiting for some direction. You might still have to wait for a little bit. Neutral is the game right now, neutral and sideways for equities, and directional, bearish on most of the commodities. Currencies are mixed. Okay, this has been Coach T from TackleTrading.com. Quick market update to keep you guys informed. Get in the game.
Get off the sidelines and take control of your financial future at www.tackletrading.com. Get in the game.